Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at belisiofoods.com/careers.
So it's going to be a good, fun night. But I came up with the Thursday night football rumble. You can see this and hear this on WXEQ 100.1 FM, WXEQFM.com, but also live stream Main Street TV. Take note of this, Main Street TV. We are on TV live right now on YouTube or Facebook.
Yeah, I've got it on Facebook right now, T-Fred, and so we're there.
We're there, baby.
There's my ugly mug.
I got my proud Cleveland Browns shirt on.
There you go Browns.
That's the only orange I got besides Waverly, so, you know. But, again, Main Street TV on YouTube or Facebook. You can watch it live or watch it later on tonight. Also, they've made us a nice sign here, courtesy of Main Street. What is it? Who made this sign?
TV.
Zips Printing. Zip Printing in Jackson, Ohio. Take a good look at it. Eastern Eagles road to the state championship now on Q 100.1 WXCQ. We may have to take that and put it up tomorrow night, guys, when we're over at the stadium. But
and actually, I saw that today. There were several people asking, make sure we will be broadcasting this game tomorrow live on 100.1 WXCQ and WXCQFM.com.
Yep. That's it. Brian, your thoughts? It's tournament fever.
Oh, this is an exciting time. I mean, this is my favorite time of the year.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be an exciting time tonight, I think, in Beaver, and it's going to be an exciting time tomorrow night for the football game.
Well, I'll tell you, we'll review the week. Unfortunately, the Red Streaks bowed out at 6-4 with their loss to Westfall. And, guys, the one that really kicks you in the gut there, all the teams that had to lose lost.
Yes.
And all we had to do is win. We should have sent one of you guys down at halftime, told Tyler, because all they had to do was win. They just couldn't get it done. They got beat, 56-32, I believe.
Yeah, that was
something
a tough
like
one.
that. Yeah, I like to forget that one.
Forget that one. I know Coach T wants to forget it, but anyway, it is what it is. Waverly lost to Mount Healthy. They finished 6-4, and they got beat 42-6. We did invite Chris Crabtree out. He said he might be late or he might not be at all. We'll see. But we have Eastern winning over Green 43-7. They took care of business early, from what I gather. And we do have Coach T. He'll be on the air here shortly. But guys, it's fun. I'm glad we get a chance to do it because there's just something extra about playoff football.
Well, that playoff football and being 10-0.
Yep.
Perfect season. I've been excited about this all week. Glad to see everybody coming out. Love that we're live streaming. That's awesome. But, 10-0, took care of business all season. Young football program, 9 years strong, I believe, and just it's awesome for these Eastern Eagles.
Well, and speaking of that, we're going to get Neil Leist over here shortly, and he was kind of the guru, and Scott Thomason both, that got this whole thing started out here.
I do know
Beaver.
that, yes.
So we'll get him here after a short break, but we're going to have interviews. We've got Coach T, of course, Coach Crabtree from Waverly if he gets out here. We have a couple players, Brewer Thomason and Jace White coming down, maybe Evan Ferguson, another assistant coach for Eastern. We got Brett Bevins from the News Watchman. He wants to put his 2 cents worth in. So I don't have a problem with that, guys. If you want to say anything about the Eastern football program or Eastern Eagles this year, feel free to stop by and you can get on TV and be famous.
Oh, yeah. Because hanging out with us will get you famous, if nothing else,
that's
right?
That's absolutely right.
You got that right. Well, with that being said, we've got a real quick look here. Here are the teams that made it. And if I missed one, I apologize. But here are the teams that made it in Division III. Miami Trace is at Hamilton Township. This is Region 10, Division III. Marietta at Jackson. Athens at Bloom Carroll. Division III, Region 12. Hillsboro at Salina. Division 4, Region 15. Indian Valley at Logan Elm. Fenton County at Gallipolis. Division 5, Region 19. Worthington and Christian at Ironton. Portsmouth West at Heath. And Portsmouth at Fairland. And Division 5, Region 20, Westfall at Germantown, Valley View. Madison at Zane Trace. In Division 6, Region 23, Rock Hill at Garaway, Cold Grove at Northmore, Trimble at Elgin, Bel Air at Nelsonville, York. In Division 6, Region 24, Licking Valley at Lucasville Valley at West Liberty, and Parkway at Paint Valley. Not to forget the other guys. Eastern, they're in the 27 division, Region 27, Division 7.
Yeah.
And they will host Shadyside tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at Eastern. And, of course, Waverly. They will travel to, they're D4, Region 16, and they'll travel to Shawnee and Springfield. Now, other area teams that made it, I'm looking here, Unyota will host Urbana, and McLean will travel to Cincinnati Taft, and Washington Courthouse to Cincinnati, Wyoming. Also, in the other one, South Gallia will travel to Monroe Central. Portsmouth East will travel to Fairfield Union. Waterford will travel to Miller. And Notre Dame will host Bellsville. So that's everybody in the area, guys, as far as playoffs. Now, the one thing I want to talk about before we start talking to people, they've got a pretty good system. Joe Idle does a great job putting everybody where they need to be. Here's the problem I got. We got some 2 and 8s and 3 and 7s that are in the playoffs and some 6 and 4s that are out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of looking at it, it is, I understand it is what it is, and it's kind of a shame, you have a winning record. I mean, but, looking at Shadyside, 3 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, of course, they're ranked 15th in their division, but, yeah, it just doesn't quite add up sometimes. I guess if you're on the receiving end of it and you're in, then it's great, but when you're out, it's not. So, I mean, I guess it is what it is. It's the best system they got until they fix it.
And I don't know how you replace it. I mean, if you think, and I've always said this, I think the point system is the fairest way to do playoffs that I can think of.
It is.
If you look at win-loss records, you get a different picture. So you got a 6-4 Piketon who's out of the playoffs in Division 5, but you've got, so Piketon beats Valley. Valley gets in the playoffs in a different division, different region at that's 3 wins.
Yep.
Yeah.
But there again, it all goes to you've got to beat football teams that win games.
Yep.
And 6-4 is great, don't get me wrong, but if you look at the wins we've got, we have wins against teams that I think the highest winning team is 3 wins?
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, 6-4 looks good, but I don't know how realistic that is when it comes to being a playoff caliber team. And so maybe because of the point system, 3 and 7 Valley ends up with a better shot than a 6-4 team.
Well, that's exactly it. With that, it is what it is. I know Mark Williams had a nice little commentary I saw somewhere on. He had the percentages broken down of 2 and 8, 3 and 7, and 4 and 6 teams in, and then the higher teams with the higher wins. He had that broken down. So I don't remember where I saw it. It was on the internet somewhere. But Mark does a good job, and that kind of caught my eye, and I just thought I'd get your guys' take on all that.
The other thing, T-Fred, is I think about the way they expanded the playoffs. And I was okay with expanded playoffs. I think 16 was probably a little too much. But I always kind of thought that probably a better way to do it would give the top 4 teams in each region a bye and let your 5 through whatever play because you get some matchups early in the playoffs that one team just gets beat up.
Yes.
That's just all there is to it, and you just get beat on by a really good team. So I don't know that that's always a great way to do it.
Right, I'm with you. Any last thoughts before we go to break?
No, I mean, it's just like this, Region 27 Division, what is this, Division 7?
Yep.
10-0 Eastern is second. So, I mean.
And the team in front of them lost one.
Eastern Reedsville is 9-1, and they're first. So, I mean, I guess it is what it is, but nonetheless, we got a perfect Eastern Eagle season, and that's what we're here to talk about and celebrate. And that's amazing for this team. I love it.
Amazing. And I'm glad we got a chance to see him and get to do the broadcast tomorrow night. We will be on tomorrow night at 6:30, kickoff at 7 on WXEQ 100.1 FM. With that being said, we've got Neil Lice coming aboard next to talk about how this whole shebang got started, and we'll go from there. But you're listening to the Thursday Night Football Rumble, and I tell you who came up with that is Deb out at the station.
All right, good job, Deb.
So, Deb, kudos to you, because we were struggling with trying to figure out what to call it. But Deb came up with it, so kudos to her. We're going to send it back to the station, patronize the fine sponsors that put on this show tonight, live from Sully's in the Valley. Back in a few minutes. Sully's in the Valley. I want to thank Eric Sully Sullivan, whom this store is named after, by the way. I got that the other day. I didn't know that till I was talking. We were looking for Steve Adams, and also thank Steve for letting us come out and do this show. But it is the Thursday Night Football Rumble, live from Sully's in the Valley, and we're on WXEQ 100.1 FM, WXEQFM.com. You can also watch this live right now on Main Street TV on YouTube or Facebook. You can watch it live or archived on Main Street TV or YouTube, on YouTube or Facebook. Got it, guys? All right, well, we got the guy that kind of started everything out here at football, and Neil was kind of telling me this story before we went on the air. So, Neil, first of all, we're proud of the Eastern Eagles. We're thankful that Sully's let us come out here to do the game. We're going to do it tomorrow night. I wish we could do more games, and that's in the process, guys, so I'll tell you that. But with that being said, Neil, we're 10-0, number 2 in the region, and you kind of started this whole thing 9 years ago.
Well, I was like Robin. Batman sitting right over there. Scott Tumlinson's Batman. I was his Robin. But I was one of those superintendents that jumped on board because this was being talked about before Scott came along, but no one done anything about it. And then it was a May board meeting. Scott, do you remember what year that was? About 13 years ago, 12, 13 years ago, he shows up at a May board meeting, and people snickered and laughed. Oh, Scott's the 5th person who's going to get this started. But something about Scott that night, I could look him in the eyes. He said God had sent him, and he wanted to get something accomplished in life that he would be proud of, and God would be proud of what he'd done in life. And he says, I'm starting football here at Eastern. And I know when it started rolling, I jumped on board. I jumped on the train with both feet. And I said, what do you need, Scott? He said, we got to go out and raise some money. We went down to Willersburg and got a set of field goal posts that they donated at the old junior high they tore down.
Right.
And then it went from there. We were looking for lights, and we ended up getting a set of really nice lights, probably $200,000 set of lights out of a company in Texas where a high school had ordered them and never picked them up. They laid there for 3 years. They were aluminum. Right? They weren't.
Wow.
We called and priced them, and we were a week or two away setting up wooden telephone poles and putting a light or two on top. We were close to doing that, and then that company came back and gave us about an 80% off deal on those lights. And if you've seen our lights, they're as good as anyone around.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But that's just how it got started. And Scott got Rick. Got to say a shout out to Rick Swain. He donated that first scoreboard, and we're still running that scoreboard. It was a nice one. That was Ohio Valley Bank. I'd like to say thanks to Steve here at Solly. It's a great atmosphere. I hope we can do this more because it's a great atmosphere and a place the kids can come after a Friday night game. Steve keeps his place open an extra 2 hours, and we pack this place after a game with all the kids, and it gives them a place to go inside and have a good time and eat. But the program, I remember telling the parents, when Scott got this program going, I said, don't put pressure on Scott to win, because when I was at Claremont Northeastern, Fayetteville and Manchester started programs down there, and they went 5 or 6 years without a win. I remember them losing and watching them play 78-0, 60-0. So I prepared these parents around here. Scott's not going to be able to win right off the bat. Don't pressure him. It'll be 4 or 5 years before we can get a win. And what Scott do? He comes out and goes 500 the first 4 or 5 years, and kind of got it off rolling big. But he brought a couple big boys with him. Named Dalton South or Dalton Tomlinson, and when you got a big boy like Dalton, that helps make Scott look good certain times. But Dalton was one heck of a player, and he's back now helping him coach. But what a ride it's been. That there's some schools that's never had a winning program, and Scott's done it in 9 years. Now you tell me how that happened.
Good stuff.
That's good stuff. And then we've made the playoffs. What's Scotty 3 years in a row, I believe. 2 of the last three. And got a chance this year, if we can get by Shadyside, who's probably the best team from 8 through 16. You've looked them up. You see who they played. They're a powerhouse in football. The things that we've got going for us on this one is they're traveling 3 hours. And Jamie Bond, a good friend of mine that lives right across the street, he's got the hog farm. I paid him a little money, and he's spreading 3 loads. He's spreading 3 loads tomorrow out right along Tile Mill Road. So that should help from a 6-point home advantage to maybe a 12-point home advantage.
There you go. I
like it. I like it. Well, I tell you, it's good. Well, Neil, in his own right, a great basketball player. And I asked him, I said, would you like to have football, Neil?
Oh, heaven's sakes. I can name the seniors that I graduated with: Andy Dahl, Paul McAllister. Steve Witt would have been the quarterback. I would have been the running back. Paul McAllister would have been the wide receiver. I mean, you can just name the starting rotation.
There,
and tough kids. They were tough kids, raised on a farm, and it would have been fun, and I wish we'd have had it. And when I came back here from Claremont Northeastern and I saw what football done for those kids that weren't athletic enough maybe to play basketball or quick enough to get up and down the court, but they played football, and those kids walked down the hallway just as proud as anyone. And Robbie Day, Matt Hines, they've told me time and time again they could write a book about kids that before football was in trouble in the office, being suspended. And now those same kids, when Scott got a hold of them and gave them the discipline of a football program and was winning, those same kids were walking down the hallways with their chest out, their head high, and they had a purpose for being at Eastern High School. And they've won here at Eastern High School. And something that people don't talk about, Scott, from the beginning, you take those kids that sometimes get lost between the cracks or need a lift to practice or a place to stay or food to eat. Scott Tomlinson could retire now if he had $1 for every kid he took under his wing, took home, took to practice, took to a camp, made sure they had the money to get there, but just took care of those kids to where they felt like something. They look at Scott as their second father or a family member that they may not have at home. But that's what Scott Tomlinson has done here in the Eastern community. And a winning football program pulls the community together. A winning basketball team pulls a community together. But especially those Friday night lights, you'll see tomorrow. This is going to be standing room only. It's going to be the hugest, largest crowd at any sporting event that Eastern's ever hosted will be tomorrow night home here against Shadyside. And it's the community is just loving every second of it. And I get a little bit of credit, which you guys have gave me credit tonight, but just never forget, I was Robin the Batman. Scott Tomlinson made it happen. It wouldn't have happened without him. We wouldn't be here today without him. And thank God he's got his son Dalton, who's a great, great young man. I don't know if you've ever met Dalton.
I have.
To have him on the line and coaching that O-line and working with these kids. My son Cade's a freshman. He's starting on the O-line, starting center. But he looks up to Scott, but also Dalton. He just thinks the world of Dalton Tomlinson. So to add him to an already great staff has been a big benefit for Scott and the whole program this year. So we just love it that Dalton came back, because Dalton could have went at a much higher level college route, or he could be doing something much bigger with his life right now. But he wanted to come back, give back to his community. We've got him teaching over there full time now and working on the coaching staff full time. But we're just blessed to have Dalton here back with us.
Well, I'll tell you.
Great.
Go ahead. Got anything?
No, that's great. I was here. I got to watch the program start and kind of build to this. I've watched Dalton play. I remember watching the first football game here. So, what you guys have done, Scott, you and everybody, it is just great. And just kudos to everybody, and it's good to see Dalton. He's back there now. Good to see him back here at Eastern, and looks like someone that maybe in the future, maybe the torch can be passed to him to keep this program going into the future. And I couldn't be happier.
Well, Dalton's one of those kids that went out beyond Beaver and had success,
Yeah, absolutely.
but did not forget his roots and where he came from. And he's back here now helping these kids out. People wouldn't believe in these small, poorer communities what it's like living back one of these hollers or in these trailers that have broken windows, doors falling off, and some of these situations the kids grow up in. But to have an adult like Scott and Dalton to be there for them, be their leaders, and have a football program that builds them up mentally and physically and prepares them for life like they had never been prepared before. When I came back, that's what I wanted to happen, because I saw that happen at Claremont Northeastern. I saw those kids.
Yep.
I wish I could have played. I wanted these kids to have an opportunity. And then God brought Scott to a May meeting, and I was like, golly, Ned, this couldn't have worked out better. I'm jumping on the train with both feet. And hopefully Scott will say I helped him a little bit, but I've done everything I could from a superintendent position to help get this rolling and where it's come in 9 years. I mean, there's so many schools that are envious that's never had a program for 60 years and never had a 10-0 season,
Right.
or make it 2 out of 3 years in the playoffs. So a lot of schools are envious, but this winning program brings this community together. And having you guys here tonight to share the story is huge for this little community, and we truly appreciate it. We hope to get you out to more games next year.
Yep.
If it's a money issue and you need some sponsors, holler at me, and I hope you look some up. But we would love to have you back here at Solly's more often. The food's great.
Yes, it is.
And a few more games next year, so we appreciate it.
All righty. Well, thanks a lot for coming down, Neil, and I appreciate you. Go
Yep.
Eagles tomorrow night.
I tell you something. If there's one thing that you know how to do is raise money, Neil. I've watched it for years, so I know you can get it done, buddy.
If it needs to be raised, we'll
Yes,
raise
sir.
it.
Yes, sir. Well, we're going to take another break. We'll have Scott Tomlinson on after this. You're listening live, the Thursday Night Football Rumble, live from Sully's in the Valley. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Back here live from Sully's in the Valley, and we do have head coach of the Eastern Eagles, Scott Tomlinson. And, hey, kudos to a 10-0 season. I hope the playoff ride lasts a long, long time. Just like this sign says, Eastern Eagles road to the state championship on WXCQ 100.1. Before we go farther, we got a correction. Main Street TV, you can watch this program on Main Street TV on Facebook.
Yes.
And on YouTube, it is under Total Media. Total Media on YouTube. Main Street Live, Facebook. So we are live stream live. And, Coach, again, congrats. Thanks for coming down tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming out. It's pretty cool. So.
Well, you finished 10-0. No pressure there, right?
Yeah.
Except for maybe a couple games.
Had a couple of scares.
But that 50-49 game and that 31-28 game, kind of go ahead and talk about those two games in particular.
Well, and I'll go back to last year. Last year in the playoff game we was playing Cincinnati Country Day. Jace White kind of touched on this yesterday in an interview. I didn't really think much about it until I'd heard him say it. But we were down, a couple of scores in that playoff game last year at Country Day, and we came back and gave ourselves a chance to win there at the end of the game. I think that's kind of rode into this year with the kids. We were down twice this year by a couple of touchdowns early. Didn't get down themselves. Didn't get. They kept fighting back. Came back and won both of those games. And you look back on it, it's like, well, maybe they did grow up a little bit. last year in that playoff game, realized that because in the past, we'd fall down a couple of touchdowns and we'd get down, and then that was it. In that playoff game last year, they fought back, came all the way back, gave them a chance to win. And I've seen it happen twice this year that we fell down and didn't. We still just fought back, kept going, and came back and won both those ball games. And maybe there's something to that last year that grew up a little bit in that, and they're believing in themselves this year.
Well, tell us a little bit about your team in general, because we haven't seen you. I haven't seen you yet. I know Jeff Davis got to come over and do a game, and that's the only reason that Waverly played on a Saturday night.
Right.
But kind of go through your offense and defense, and whatever you want to mention about this 10-0 season.
All right. Well, said offense for us, it kind of starts with our O-line. Our O-line, we got three seniors on there, and then we've got Cade Lice, a freshman, starting center, Brewer, sophomore at left guard. So, and Brewer started as a freshman also. So there's a lot of games played on that O-line. Like Justin Bradley, Ethan Satterfield, they've started about 3 years for us. So very experienced O-line, very weight room. These guys get in the weight room, they do the work. So it all kind of starts there. I can't remember the stat. Dalton's back there somewhere. I know we've only gave up a couple sacks the entire season.
Wow.
And, D-Ray don't even really get pressured a whole lot most of the time. They do their job. There's been several games, and we come out in the second half, so we're just running the ball. We're taking the clock out. We're running the ball. We see other scores where teams beat this team 60 or 70 points, but we come out in the second half with the lead. We usually just take the air out of it, eat the clock, get behind that big O line, and run the ball with Landon Ryan-Smith. So it all kind of starts there. Then we have D-Ray, Dylan Morton. I've called him D-Ray since he was 8. You just coach him and coach pitch baseball, and that's dirt dogs. We've all come up. We've all come up together. So that's the other cool thing. A lot of these kids that have been coaching them in baseball, basketball, other stuff coming up through. But D-Ray's having a heck of a season. Both throwing the ball, running the offense, spreading it out to all these different receivers. We got Jace White, I believe, broke the receiving touchdown record last week with 11. Logan Clemens had it with 10. So he got that record last week. Tegan Warner's had a heck of a year, big season. Wyatt Richardson has had his best season so far as a junior. We got Boston Webb coming over here from Valley. He's been starting all year as a freshman. Probably one of our best blocking receivers. Very solid hands. He's kind of the pecking order as a freshman. He'll come up as we go on catches and on that type of stuff. But Landon Ryan-Smith broke the rushing record held by Dylan Maddox. So he now owns the single season and the career rushing record. He's had a heck of a season. Then he also, I don't know what, Ferg, probably 3 or 4 touchdowns out of the backfield receiving. He's got really good hands. On most teams, he could even be a wide receiver if they needed him, or a tight end. So very talented kid. And like I said, D-Ray does a great job of spreading it around. Evan Ferguson this year, first-year offensive coordinator, he's calling the plays up there in the booth. And like I said, we'll have him on here in a little bit. He's been my right-hand man for the last 2 years. And a pretty cool story about how we met there a couple of years ago. Maybe he can tell you or whatever. And he's been with me ever since. He does all the work in the summertime. All the stuff that a lot of coaches don't want to do. He kind of started there on the bottom, and he's worked himself up. Now he's the OC, and he's doing a great job. And I just got to keep him around here for somebody else steals him. So.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yep. Defensively, got a really good defensive coordinator. Dustin Barrow out of Ironton. He played, and he told the kids tonight, he can remember his sophomore year at Ironton when he won his state championship there for Ironton. Then he went on to Youngstown State and played for Jim Tressel. So he does a really good job with our defense. Defensive line, very solid. 2 good linebackers, Landon Ryan-Smith, Landon Cavender, both having great seasons. We're very strong back there in the defensive backfield with Tegan Warner at safety, and Jace White playing some linebacker, Brady Moore at outside linebacker, Wyatt Richardson at corner, and we got Christian Smith, and Christian's just a little fella, about 5'3", 5'4", about 120 pounds, and teams try to go at him, but I tell you what, he's got 4 interceptions right now, and
cool.
He's going to be a dude, and he's going to be a ball player. So, both sides of the ball were pretty solid. I don't feel like we have really any holes on either side of the ball. Maybe a little young in spots, but that's D7 football. So I feel like we're probably as healthy as we have ever been. Right now, we are probably healthier than we was in the first 5 weeks of the season. So we were getting healthy at the right time. I feel like we're peaking at the right time, getting momentum. Very excited for the second season of this little playoff run.
Great, yeah. I mean, that's you kind of touched on everything, Scott. I mean, it's been a great season. How many seniors do you have?
We have 8.
8. Okay, so I mean, you're not going to lose a ton. So I mean, probably make a good run next year too. And it's just
we'll be young next year. I expect maybe the non-conference, like we may struggle a little bit in non-conference till these younger kids get up to speed.
Yeah.
Varsity football is a heck of a lot different, and where we don't have a JV team, that's where we get. That's the good thing about this senior class. It's the only team that we had. They were able to have a JV team their freshman year. None of those kids played varsity their freshman year. They all played a JV schedule. We had 6 or 7 JV games, and that helped them tremendously. Down the road, we haven't had a JV team since, so we've got a couple of 8th graders that are really talented that we figure may have to start for us next year as freshmen. Some young kids plugging in, so we'll use that non-conference. Try to get through there and win more than we lose. Hopefully in non-conference, then when we hit league play, they'll grow up a little bit and be ready to go. So,
very exciting.
Yeah, but the future is like it's like you look down at our 8th grade. Our 8th grade just finished 7-1, and there's some dudes down there. There's some big athletes. There's some big linemen. So we're looking like even 3 years down the road, we're going to be really good still.
Yeah, I've heard that. There's a lot of people talking about that 8th grade team.
Junior high team is pretty fun to watch.
So, and this team is just great. I feel like I've seen all these kids grow up too.
Yeah, you've been around for the baseball and the basketball.
It's very exciting. Like I said, I'm super happy to be here. I've been excited about this all week. So, what do you got for them tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, they're Shadyside very athletic. I know I've heard other people say you can't really look at their record 3-7, but they do play a tough schedule. They're really athletic. If we had to go out and play them in a game of 7-on-7, it'd probably be a heck of a game.
Yeah.
But I feel like in the trenches, I feel like O-line, D-line, they're undersized. That's what I think we will be able to lean on that pretty heavy. Make it more of a physical game.
Good. I'm excited as can be to call it.
That's
Well, it's pretty awesome to have you guys out there.
I watched a little bit of film, not much, on Shadyside, and you guys too. And I was very impressed with your offensive line play. I picked that up real quick.
Yeah,
I thought they looked really good.
They come off the ball, and like I said, Dalton. I'm pretty spoiled. I mean, I haven't had to do a whole lot because I was the O-line, D-line coach, and Dalton rolled in and took over the O-line, so I just kind of sit back and let him go and turn him loose. And got a guy named Alan Kiefer from Vinton County came in and kind of took the D-line over for me. One of my friends from the past, he come in and coached the D-line. And we got Scott Weaver from Waverly that coaches our running backs. We've got Ethan Lice coaching our quarterbacks. And, Chad Niddle from Jackson's been with me for a few years now. He's a wide receiver DB coach. So, I've got the best staff I've ever had. I tell you, I'm pretty spoiled. Especially practice time when it comes to Friday nights. I challenged them this week. I told them I'd sent them a picture of a $100 bill, and I told them whoever watched the most film this week gets $100.
There you go.
I think me and Fergie's duking it out. He's about 30 minutes ahead of me right now, so I get back home and get back on the iPad.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. We thank you to take time out tonight, come and see us, and we're glad to be here. It's going to be a fun atmosphere.
Yeah,
it already is here.
I mean, the ticket price scares me, but I'm hoping that everybody still comes in.
I know. I saw an article today. They're talking about the ticket prices for OHSAA playoff games. So.
Well, I know we got an amazing boosters, and our boosters is picking up the tab for our students that need it. So the boosters going to pick up the tab for us, so our students
stuff.
Can still make sure they're here. So shout out to our boosters. They're amazing.
Anything else you want to holler at?
I believe that's it. I've covered my coaches, my players. The community's done a great job. Whether you gave us thousands or whether you gave us $5 for a Chinese auction, this whole thing would have never happened without all the fundraisers, all the community support. We appreciate our pep section. Our student section's been amazing this year. They got they got their little themes. They're up there and we can hear them. Especially when it's down at the end of the game or if there's a big play, you can hear the pep section up there and the moms ringing their cowbells, and it's just a good deal, man. It's just the whole culture of not just football, but like I said, football, basketball. Cross country. I told the cross country coach the other day, I was like, hey, man, how many small schools can say they won the cross country SOC championship and the football championship?
That's right.
At a small school where you've only got so many boys.
Yeah, you don't have
and they're rolling. They're in the regional. I was seeing them out practicing when we left. They're out there running. Got their regional Saturday. So momentum here in Beaver is definitely real. So
Well, you've done a great job, and the program's on the up and up, and we sure wish you well tomorrow night.
Thank you very much.
All
Thank
righty.
you, Coach.
Coach Scott Thompson, head coach of the Eastern Eagles. We're going to take another break, and we'll be back with some more interviewees as you're listening to the Thursday Night Football Rumble live from Sully's in the Valley. We'll be back in a few minutes. All righty, back here live from Sully's in the Valley. Great food, great atmosphere, and it is Thursday Night Football Rumble, and courtesy of the Eastern Eagles going 10-0, and in the playoffs tomorrow night. We'll be bringing you that game live at 6:30 air time, kickoff at 7. You can watch this program on Main Street TV, and that's on Facebook. Or on YouTube, you can watch it on Total Media. So it's Total Media for YouTube and Main Street TV for Facebook. And you can watch it live or you can watch it archived. So make that little note. We have assistant coach Evan Ferguson, and I always call him Fergie. Fergie, thanks for coming out.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. You're friends. You can call me Ferg.
All right, Ferg.
Ferg, all right.
Nothing wrong with that. I know his dad real well. Played a lot of ball with him. But with that being said, Ferg, your thoughts on this week's preparation for the game and Shadyside coming to town for the playoff game?
Oh, I mean, I think the biggest thing we preach to the kids about preparation, and you heard Scott say it a minute ago, tons of tradition, and you're going to hear about their storied program, this, that, and the other. For us, this is a moment for us to create tradition. We are the stories that they're talking about. In 30, 40 years when these guys are fathers and grandfathers and uncles and this, that, and the other, they are that kind of tradition. So trying not to get caught up in the hype of that, just keep hammering away, just keep working. And I thought we had a pretty good week. They mix it up. They're pretty multiple offensively. So defensively, we had to be prepared for some eye stuff,
I saw
quite
that.
a bit of spread. They motion about 50% of their plays, at least they did last week against Monroe Central. So just, really communicating. That has been the biggest preparation, trusting your buddy to do their job, trusting your brother to be in the right spot, and communicating while you're moving. If we do those things, I think we like our chances.
No, I mean, you touched on it. I love what you said about creating traditions. That kind of gave me some chills. I love that. It's great, great program. And hopefully, I think you guys are going to take care of business
Oh,
tomorrow.
You hate to speculate, of course. You never want to be overconfident.
Of course, I know that.
I was telling Dalton, he asked me at team dinner tonight, he's like, how you feel? And I was like, man, I feel great. And
Yeah.
I feel so great, it makes me nervous. I'm almost uncomfortable being this confident. But you're the 2 seed, I told the boys today, we were talking about it, it's like, you're the king. They got to come try and knock the crown off your head.
That's right.
So the pressure's on them. You just do your job, handle business, and we'll get to keep playing football, get to keep enjoying this with each other.
And it sounds like you've watched a lot of film.
I think I'll go ahead and sneak it out. I'll go ahead and tell it. So I think today I hit 7.5 hours on Huddle, which is a pretty good number for us.
Yeah.
I think Coach Tomlinson is right at 7. They also, they film all their stuff on YouTube and left it off. So we've got 3 or 4 films from YouTube and stuff. So I'd say there's 3 or 4 staff members who are in the double digits. I think I counted up today, and we're almost at 40 hours as a staff. So that's an exciting thing for him to say something. Yeah, did you see that at Play 101? And all of us be able to snap to him like, yeah, they did do that. We should talk about that. We should cover that.
Yeah, wow.
It's comforting to know that we're this prepared, because unless you were this prepared, how can you translate that information to the kids?
No, that's exactly right.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, we're bragging on the staff for how much film they watched. Our kids have done a tremendous job.
Yeah.
Monday we got to practice, and some of us hadn't necessarily done the tremendous job we felt we should watching film. Some of us kind of slacked on Sunday through the evening, and we called them out, and a couple of them were seniors, and they took it in stride. I'll say his name. I got on Dylan Morton. He had watched about 5 minutes of film, and that's about 5 hours too little for our starting quarterback, if you ask me.
Right.
And he goes home that night after I call him out, and he watches 2.5 hours. And for me, that just shows how important this is. It's a priority, to be prepared for this game.
Well, that's a fact. And the tournament trail, you can't talk about the next step till you take the first step. But, it is – it's lined up pretty good for you guys. I think if you play your game, which I haven't seen yet except for short pieces of film, but if you guys play your game, I think you can make a serious run at this state playoff, as this sign says.
Yeah, this whole thing has just been such a blessing. It's been a really beautiful thing to be a part of. I hope our kids and our community understand how rare this is. I was telling them today, I believe there's roughly 1,000 schools that play 11-man football in the state of Ohio, and there were 23 total in 7 divisions that went undefeated. We're one of those 23. That is,
awesome.
We finished 8 in the AP state poll out of 110 schools. I mean, that's just such an honor. I hope they understand. I hope this community, although we're new to football, can really appreciate what that means. To keep this rolling, said you want to keep this rolling, got to stay healthy. Got to take care of the football.
Yeah.
I think, everybody's good. You're in the state playoffs. They're a 15 seed and they're 3-7, this, that, and the other. They're ball players. They got ball players. They have good coaching. They're prepared. I'm sure they're watching film too. No, we just really, and I know it's cliche, and I can't believe I'm giving coaches talk now. I never thought I'd be here, but got to do our job. Just got to do our job.
Well, it's cliche for a reason, right? So
exactly.
There you go.
If guys smarter than me have been saying it for a long time, so it's probably the right answer.
It is. Well, you guys done a great job out here. We wish you luck tomorrow night. Thanks for coming out and talking to us.
Oh, no problem. Thanks, guys. We
Thank
appreciate
you
all the
so
coverage.
much.
Yes.
All righty, we'll take another break. We've got a couple players we're going to talk to on coming back, and you're listening to the Thursday Night Football Rumble live from Sully's in the Valley. Great food, great camaraderie, great place to come out. If you're not busy, come on out. We're still going to be on probably another 20, 30 minutes. So with that being said, Deb, take it away. You're listening to the show, WXEQ 100.1 FM. Back in a minute. Live from Sully's in the Valley, home of the Thursday Night Football Rumble Show. We've had all kinds of special guests. We got a couple players now. And the first one, Brewer Tomlinson. And Brewer, do you got a nickname, first of all?
Just Brewer.
Just
What
Brewer.
about Brew?
Okay.
I remember that one from several
Brewer.
years back.
Okay,
Yeah,
that goes
look at
back a
him.
few years.
Yeah.
Brewer. All right. Well, first of all, your thoughts on a 10-0 season, perfect, winning the SOC1. And then your playoff run starting tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'm very proud of the team. Ever since before even the season started, I just remember Fergie telling us, like, hey, you got to be perfect every week. And I feel like we've done a great job at taking everything 1 week at a time and really focusing on not overlooking a team. And it's really hard to be perfect. It just is.
It is.
To be able to be perfect every week, I think that's a great accomplishment and a right step towards gaining a tradition and leading the way for other paths.
Well, now let me ask you this. I already mentioned it to Scott. A couple games that were scary and hairy and
Yeah.
whatever. But how was your guys' attitude, in the huddle and on the sideline when it's, well, first of all, you got down.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that did not sit well with the coaching staff or you guys. So how did you guys handle that and make the comeback?
I learned a lot, like, during that last playoff game from last year against Country Day. Like, even when you, like, then I was younger, so I hadn't really been down, like, a whole lot, and came back. But learned to just never give up. Like, even if you're down, like, there's still a chance. There's always a chance, no matter how good a team is or no matter how bad you are. There's always a chance. So I knew, like, in that game in position, if they score, we have to go back down and score too. We have to match whatever they do, and in the end, try to pull it out. And that's what we did. We knew that. We've been in many dog fights in the past, and that's just a great example of, like, just never give up. Everything will work out in the end. You just got to fight hard and match everything they do.
I love it, Brewer. That's a great attitude to have. And so, I mean, perfect season, playoffs tomorrow. What do you think about tomorrow night?
I think that if we all stay disciplined and do our job and don't try to do other people's jobs, but just focus on our job as, like, just yourself and just really focus on what you're going to do, then I think we'll be pretty good. So.
Well, I'll tell you, got Shady Side. They're orange and black, and they're the Tigers, too. Not that that's anything, but they're coming 3 hours. And, of course, Neil already mentioned we're going to be prepared for them as they get here.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. But, I'm excited. I'm not even a player anymore. And he's been excited. I know Brian, he's excited except for eating all that pizza sitting over there.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, how you get – you got to tone the nerves down. How do you do that?
I do it by just realizing, and, like, I've been in this, like, position before, and up to that point I prepared myself the best I can by watching film or the guy I'm going across, knowing the moves he's going to do or how he's going to block me or when he's going to try to hook me or whatever, because I play D end. And you just become so much more confident going into game when you know what they're going to do, the things that you've looked for all week. When you're well prepared, it takes a lot of nerves out. But, I mean, you're still going to be nervous, but it helps a lot.
Well, scouting and preparation, that's key to any
Yeah.
sport, basketball, football, any of it. So any last words there? Since you know this guy from way back, right?
I do. I've watched him grow up. It's amazing, the young man I see in front of me. The only thing I can say, Brewer, is good luck tomorrow and
Thank you.
go kick some Tiger butt.
Thank you. I
Kick some
appreciate
Tiger,
it.
buddy. You got a great smile.
Yes, he
Jace
does.
White, where you at? Let's get Jace over here. Just hand it to him. Thanks, Brewer.
Thanks for having me.
Good luck
Thank you,
tomorrow
Brewer.
night, big guy. All righty, Mr. White. Mr. White, I know you. Well, I know both you guys from basketball. I did some of your games last year, and you're very athletic. Both you guys are. You're good athletes. But football, football's a different game. First of all, talk about your 10-0 season, and then your preparation into tomorrow night's this tournament run. That's getting ready to fill that sign right there.
Yeah, at the start of the year, Ferg was talking about going 10-0 and doing all this work in the summer, and me, D-Ray, and all of us were just looking at Ferg like, you're crazy, we ain't going to go 10-0. And then we kind of just kept with him and believed in him, what he was saying, and kept putting in the work, and so far it worked out, and he was telling the truth the whole time.
One game at a time, right?
Yeah.
Well, what'd you think? I'll ask him the same question. You had a couple games where you were down, and you had to fight valiantly to come back and win those two games. What'd you think then?
I was pretty calm through the whole game when we were down because last year during Country Day, during the playoffs, we were down probably about 2 touchdowns, and we came back and almost won the game with the shot. But I knew this team was going to be more calm and doing their job, and we came back and finished the shot at the end of the games.
Practice this week, preparation. Your thoughts on that?
This is probably the best week of practice we had. I think everyone was focused throughout the week, and everyone's paying attention. Like I said earlier this week, I said it's more of a mental than physical battle. I think if it come down to the line of scrimmage, I think it's poor people doing more mentally than physically.
Mike, got anything?
No, congratulations. Are you a senior this year?
Yep.
That's what I thought. So your senior year, 10-0, playoffs. What do you think?
I couldn't ask for a better season. This has probably been the most fun season I've ever had in any sport. So I don't want it to end, and just keep fighting and keep playing more playoff games.
Well, I know that's a good point. I, as a coach myself, I always tell the guys when they go into a playoff game, tournament game, I say, listen, guys, this trail, this ride you're on will last as long as you want it to last. And that's the truth. I think if you guys really, really want it and play up to your potential, your guys are going to make some serious noise.
Yep.
Anything else?
No, I think you covered everything, Jace. Good luck tomorrow night. I'm very excited to be watching the game and calling it on the radio, and I hope to say your name a lot.
Thank you.
Sounds like a plan. Well, thanks a lot, Jace, and good luck tomorrow night. We're going to take another break, send it back to Deb at station. You're listening to Thursday Night Football Rumble, live from Sully's in the Valley. We'll be back with a couple more interviews and try to wrap some things up as that pizza's looking good that Brian's chewing on. And I'm getting hungry. I don't know about you.
Me too.
But anyway, with that being said, we do have a few more people to talk to, and we'll get her done. And again, tomorrow night, kickoff at 7, pregame airtime 6:30, live from Eastern High School as they host the Shady Side Tigers. And we'll be back in a minute. All righty, back here live. We have, it's whatever you want to do, big guy. We can take turns or you can give him your headset. But we have the guys that are running this show, and these are the guys that are responsible for us being here tonight. Steve Adams and Eric Sullivan and Sully. I'm glad you told me that little piece the other day because that told us go ahead and put it on. It doesn't matter.
One of you can put it on.
We'll take one at a time.
Now, Steve, when have you ever been shy? Come on.
I'm shy.
Well, he likes to run a lot. I know that, or he used to. I don't know about anymore. But
Just got back from Tennessee.
Well, that's what you said. I told him that. I said, he's in Tennessee. He's not going to be here. There he is.
Yeah. Just got here.
Well, good. So what do you think of all this, big guy?
It's neat. I love it. I love it.
Well, now, back in the day, wasn't you a cross-country runner or a track guy or somebody?
No, I did have a 5-mile run
That's
here.
it. That's what I knew. He ran a lot. I remember saying that.
We had 3 years, 86, 87, 88.
Okay, I remember that.
Yeah, 5-mile run.
Well, what do you think of this Eastern Eagle team, 10-0 and going for this big run?
It's very nice. I'm proud of them. That's for sure. It's nice to have something new in Beaver for a new athletic team. Our basketball team's always been really, really good, but now we got a good football team. So
that really helps.
We appreciate that, for sure.
Got a nice turnout. We appreciate you having us over there.
Appreciate the pizza. I haven't got a chance to get a piece
I haven't
yet
got
tonight.
there yet either. So, but
can't wait to eat it.
Well, they still got them ready back there. They'll make them ready when you get there.
Yeah, well, nothing wrong with that. Any more thoughts on Eastern football tonight?
Well, we're all the way with them, so we're going to back them. So that we're going to do our end of it.
So how did this place come about? You and Sully, I'll let him talk here shortly, but this is
Actually,
a new restaurant. All right, we'll let him talk now.
You go ahead.
So Eric Sully, how did this all come about here? This is a nice little restaurant. I've been here quite a bit, and this is a great place.
Well, we really appreciate you, all of our customers here. A restaurant, it's a tough business to start, especially this day and age. And we really appreciate all of our customers that have helped us through this difficult starting period. And we're doing well. It's a very tough business, as everyone knows, especially with the inflation and things of that nature and the economy the way it is. But we're doing it, and we couldn't do it without all the wonderful people here in the local area, here in Beaver, Jackson, and Waverly, and the local smaller communities around. We're really very happy and appreciative of their support.
Well, now tell us how that Sully name came about. You told me the other day.
Well, actually, the whole concept was Steve's brainstorm, and he had the concept. He had been in the concession business, and he can tell you more about that, but it was his brainstorm. Go ahead, Steve. Tell us how you came up with this.
Yeah, put it on me.
He's not talking.
Well, it's been over 50 years in Beaver since we've had a place to go in at night inside, and we didn't get in this to compete with anybody. We got in this to compete, to have people that can come in after ball games. I remember 50, 60 years ago, after a game, you couldn't get in either restaurant in Beaver. They were both packed.
Right.
But we just wanted to make sure they had a nice place to come, clean. And again, we didn't get in it to be in competition. We got in it to give people another place, another avenue after ball games, and to come and have a nice dinner.
Well, the food is great here, and you guys have done a wonderful job. But so, Sully, how did the name come up?
Well, we're cousins, and our family, the Adams family's been in this valley for almost 200 years. And Steve's family, Frank and Mabel and his family, the offshoot of our cousins, they had owned this Adams store down here.
I remember that.
Since 1880. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it'd been there for a long time, and Steve had been in the concession business for 20-some years, 27 years, and he had the idea, we'd like to maybe open up a restaurant, because the concession business is tough, because you have to, it may be 6 or 7 months out of the year, but you got to unload everything and move it from fair to fair to fair. That's a very difficult business, especially as you get older. So he came up with the idea, I'd like to do my concession business, but instead of moving all the time, I'd like to have it in a fixed location. So he came up with this whole idea of kind of like a concession booth restaurant. Yeah, kind of like fair food with brick oven pizza. Because I don't think there's any brick oven pizza restaurants around here. They may have one in Chillicothe, but so it was his idea, and Josh and of course Christy that are with us on all this. They do most of the operational. They run the operational side of everything, and it was basically Steve's and Josh's idea. So they said, we got to find a place to build this restaurant. And so this lot came available here. This old building that used to be here. This was back in the Civil War. This building was here when Morgan's Raiders marched right down the main street, and it used to be, I think it was some type of mercantile store. They came in here and looted it. And they took a lot of the fabric to take back home to their women to make dresses with. But they never made it back home. They got all captured and defeated in the battle up here up in north, along the Ohio River up north. But so Steve said, well, what are we going to call this? And I said, well, you call it whatever you want. And I stay out of that. You guys are the brains behind all this. I just do whatever, the backup stuff. And so we tore the building down, the old building down, and that was a job. And then the pandemic hit, so we got delayed, and the pandemic hit, and we weren't sure whether we would be able to move forward. And it was a long road to hoe, because it was very difficult to get contractors to come in during that pandemic period and get anything done. But anyway, Steve, he said, well, what are we going to call it? So he talked it over with Josh and Christy, and they said, well, we're going to call it Sully's. And I said, you sure you want to do that? And they said, yeah, we like that name, and that goes well. And that was Sully Sullenberger, you know, the pilot that landed it on the Hudson. Well, we already had a little bit of name brand recognition there with that name, and so we decided to call it Sully. So it wasn't my idea.
Well,
so,
that's a good
but
story.
That was
good
Steve.
stuff.
All
well,
Steve.
mainly Josh.
And Josh.
Josh and Christy.
Well, your thoughts about the game tomorrow night?
Well, it's amazing, the football team here. It's really great for Beaver because they haven't had football here. How long's football been going on now?
9 years.
9 years already?
9 years.
Yeah, well, this is amazing. Great job, coaching staff, magnificent job on all that to be able to do what you've done, especially in a small town with this, without a lot of kids, without the numbers to choose from. It's pretty amazing job on the part of the coaching staff.
Well,
so
I can tell you this. Eastern wins tomorrow night. We'll be back here next Thursday night. So,
well, great.
That's we plan to be here as long as they're an attorney. Hopefully, a long ride because it's a lot of fun, and of course we enjoy doing it. So, well, guys, anything else you want to holler at?
Well, I think the coach has done a tremendous job. Give him an A+.
All righty, yes, sir.
He's been really good from the start, and we're proud of him here. Yeah, very proud.
All right.
So just like everybody to come out during the game, and I think there'll be a big crowd tomorrow night. I really do.
Yep.
And I want to welcome everybody here to Sully's. We'll be open after the game. So
all righty.
To take care of people.
Sounds like a plan.
And I appreciate you guys coming over. That's very nice.
Well, we enjoy doing it, and it's just a lot of fun, and we're just glad to be a part of it. So.
Yeah.
Well, that being said, we're thank you guys, and good luck tomorrow night with the football game. Again, from Sully's WXEQ 100.1 FM, we're going to send it back for another timeout, and we'll be back to see if anybody else wants to holler. I know I've got one for sure, but if anybody else wants to say anything, feel free to come over, and we'll let you get on the air and TV. And again, you can watch this on Main Street TV, and that is on Facebook only, or you can watch it on YouTube through Total Media. Total Media is on the YouTube channel. Main Street TV is on Facebook. Yep. So with that being said, we'll send it back to Deb one more time. We'll see who we got left to talk to and talk a little bit about tomorrow night's action, and then we'll get out of here and eat some of that great pizza sitting over there.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks, guys. And Deb, take it away. We'll be back in a minute. All righty, back here live. We got Mr. Brett Bevins, the editor, right, of the News Watchman.
Yes.
And he said he wanted to put his 2 cents worth in, and I'm more than happy to let him do that. First of all, we got Waverly tomorrow night playing over in Springfield, and they got Springfield Shawnee, and Coach Crabtree was unable to make it, so you've probably seen Waverly more than you have Eastern, but we'll let you talk about both teams and your thoughts on both games. Again, Eastern tomorrow night will be on the Q. Waverly will be on the Z with Jeff Davis and his crew. And again, we're live from Salty's in the Valley. And with that being said, Brett, your thoughts on tomorrow night's tournament action?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys giving me the time. First of all, we'll talk about Eastern because they're 10-0. And Coach Thompson and his staff have really done a great job. I've seen them play against Southern. I saw them play against
Notre Dame. The big games.
I saw the big games. I saw Southern. I saw Notre Dame. I saw Green. So I was at the exciting ones. But the game that really got me was Notre Dame. They were down 22-8, and the way that they made the adjustments at halftime, they came back and they really played mistake-free football in that second half, and they had to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
They had Morton with the field goal late, and then Notre Dame scored a touchdown, and it looked like Notre Dame was going to win, but Eastern was able to go down and score that touchdown. And I think they're going to need that. Shady's side might be 3-7, but they have played 4 teams that are hosting a game tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And that's and that shows what the record is. One of the teams they beat was from Pennsylvania, so don't know a whole lot about them because Pennsylvania's season isn't over yet. But when you have played 4 teams that are hosting a game, that's really shows how good they are in the Eastern. I'm sure Coach Thompson will have them ready tomorrow night to go, and that will be. I think Mr. Lice said it. That's going to be the biggest crowd an Eastern sporting event has ever seen. I wish I could be there. I won't be. I'll be in Springfield.
Yeah, doing a Waverly game. Yeah.
My sports editor, Julie Billings, will be will be here at Beaver for this game, and I want to personally wish the Eagles all the luck. Coach Crabtree wasn't able to make it, so I'll talk a little bit about Waverly. They have also played 4 teams that are in the playoff. They played 4 teams. They lost 4 games to 3 teams that are hosting tomorrow night.
Right.
And they beat 3 teams, and 2 of them are hosting tomorrow night. Now, Shawnee has played a few teams. They played London, 10-0, very tough.
That's the team that beat them.
Right, that's the only team that's beat them. They played Stebbins, who was in the playoffs. They played Madeira, who's in the playoffs. They played Indian Lake, who is in the playoffs. So I think it's going to be a very evenly matched game as far as maybe talent on the field. I've heard that they have a big offensive line.
They're big. I've seen them.
But Waverly has faced a lot of big offensive lines. Waverly's defensive line is undersized most nights they go up against a big team. So that will be that. Waverly's opponents' records are 27-31. The opponents they beat was 27-31.
Yep.
Shawnee's 31-59. Of course, they've won a few more games, so they have more teams. But I look for 2 great playoff games. I'll be hopefully I can get the station from WSCQ out there at Springfield because I'll be listening.
You can do it on the live stream on your phone.
Yeah.
WXCQFM.com.
Yep.
Okay, well, in that case, I will definitely be listening to it during halftime and whenever I can get a free minute when I'm out at Springfield. But thank you guys for having me. If we're out here next week, maybe I can get on and
sure, come on out. We'll keep it the same.
Give my 2 cents in.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
With those notes, Brett, you got more than 2 cents.
Yes, sir.
Well, I tried to come over prepared. So
that's good. That's good. But
yes, sir.
You're a sports guy. You used to be the sports editor, right?
I was never the sports editor
at
Waverly, but I was the sports editor in Circleville for a while, and I've always done sports. I mean, I joke and say that we don't have any editor at Waverly. We have 2 sports editors.
Okay.
but I mean, she helps out on news. I help out on sports. It's just the 2 of us, and I think we run a pretty good ship with just 2 people.
Oh, you guys do a great job.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, great job. Well, you're more than welcome to talk anytime and come over and see us. And
well, I want to thank you for letting me, bring down the quality of this broadcast.
No, you did fine.
With me on, the quality
Oh,
down
I'm
here
telling
anyway.
you. Well, and then Brian, he's just sitting over there in
Eating
La
his
La
pizza.
Land eating pizza. The water dog. He's been on vacation. He's still on vacation.
Yeah,
ain't
that's
he?
right. The water boy.
But with that being said, this is great. Have a great time over here. You don't have a score maybe for tomorrow night's games?
Oh wow! Put me on the
I'm putting
spot.
you-
That's
I am.
pressure, Brent.
That's pressure.
Brett. Yep.
That's pressure.
On the way of the game, I'm going to go 38-30 Tigers.
Okay.
The Eastern game. Okay. I had to make sure Coach Thompson was still here. The Eastern game, I will go 42-21 Eastern.
That's it. Yeah.
All righty.
There you go. I like that.
You
I'll
saw
remember
it. You saw it, and you heard it
Write
right
that
here.
down, T. Fred.
I am
42
going
to
to write that
21.
down. 42-21. Brett B. with the
There
call.
you go.
Well, see, the thing is, I've been at the Notre Dame and the Southern game. I've been at the close games.
Yeah.
When I'm not there, they win big. So
There you go.
Okay. Well, that might be a choice for.
and if they
for
win
looking
that
at.
big, Coach Thompson will never let me back at a game. So
All righty. Well, great stuff. Well, Brett, thanks a lot. We'll see if we get anybody else here before we leave. And great job, you and Julie, on the paper and the sports. And we'll see you around, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brett.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Anyway, you want to come over here and say hi? Get over here. Come here, over here. Nope, go this way. Well, be careful. Be careful.
I'm going to tell you, be careful, Tim.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just put that on.
I'll tell you what, I've been.
Just put it on, big guy. There you go. You're okay. Either way is fine. Yeah, you got it on. You had it right the first time. Flip it around. Flip it around.
We'll get it figured out.
Get out
Right?
my left there.
All right. Now, pull her down there by your mouth. There you go. We'll give you 1 minute. Tell us your name. What's your name?
Brendan Reed.
And you are the manager, are you, or the football
Well,
team?
let's put it this way. I've been doing this since we started the program.
So
Yes, you
and
have.
yeah, and I I'm kind of part manager, part coaching staff, part the help with the helmets, putting it together and
Right.
everything, and doing all that kind of stuff. And sometimes I help them with all the plays and stuff and everything in case they need me doing that kind of stuff, and helping them with other things they
Right.
need to help out during game nights. And I help them watch film.
Well, they keep you busy, don't they?
Yeah.
Well,
I do. To get out of the house because
That's right.
I can't sit in the house.
I'm with you. Well, tomorrow night, give us your prediction on tomorrow night's game.
Hope to win it all the way. Just take it out. Just take it out on them, and hope we can put them on their feet and take it to them, and take each quarter at a time, and we're going to take it to them, and hopefully we can get this game and move on to our next round and take it from there. 'Cause that's
Alrighty.
what we want. And I'm telling you one thing: since I've been in this program, we made it for a trophy last time, and I want at least us try to go to the state with me in it, so that way I
Alright.
can see it.
All
Just be
righty.
displayed at our trophy case in the school.
All righty. Sounds like a winner. Well, we're going to take another break. We'll be back to wrap things up. You are listening to the Thursday Night Football Rumble live from Stollies in the Valley on 100.1 FM. Back in 1 minute to wrap things up. We're live to wrap things up. It's been a great show tonight. And it's been on Main Street TV, and that is on Facebook, and Total Media, and that is on YouTube. So you can check it out. We're about done. So check the archive section. Now I'll do that, just see how it went.
Yeah, I'm going to go critique myself.
Yeah, me too. I'm the same way. Well, guys, Coach Crabtree unable to make tonight. We wish him well tomorrow night. The one thing I've seen from what I've gathered, because I did a little bit of info search on Shawnee, they're big and they're athletic, but they're not real fast. From what I saw, now I could be totally wrong, so I apologize to the Waverly faithful if I'm wrong on that. But just from the few films I saw, Waverly a little more athletic, I think, in the skill position, but they are going up against a big, strong team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Waverly has the edge because of their skill positions. Waverly's always seems to have good skill kids. And so I give the edge to Waverly because of that skill position. Yeah, they're going to be they're a big team, going to be a tough team, but I still give Waverly the edge because of that skill level.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the losses that Waverly suffered this year were to really good teams that are hosting, like Brett had mentioned earlier. So, yeah, and I think they're going to, like you said, the athleticism is always good there, and I feel like they do have that edge just from what I've seen and what I've heard. And like you said, they always produce a lot of good athletes. So definitely, I think Waverly's going to have the edge, and we wish them the best of luck up there in Springfield.
And I would add to that, I think Waverly's gotten better as the season has gone on. And I know they had some losses that were tough, but I think they've gotten better over the course of the season.
Well, they're going to have to play good tomorrow, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And we always say it, don't turn the ball over.
Absolutely.
That's right.
So kudos to Waverly and Coach Crabtree, 6-4 season. I'm sure he's a little disappointed in a couple of those losses. But at the same time, 6-4, a very good season, and we wish him well tomorrow night at Springfield Shawnee. Well, the last thing we're going to talk about is tomorrow night's game, guys. I haven't seen a lot of Eastern other on the short films I've seen. I've been around those boys, and I know they got hearts as big as lions. I can tell you that just from basketball and just being around them. But Coach T's done a great job, and 10-0, and they got a lot riding tomorrow night. Your thoughts on the game?
No, tomorrow's a big game. So everything from here on out is record-setting. Very few high school football players get to say I was on an undefeated football team in the regular season. And so everything you do from here on out is record-setting. 11-0, 12-0, 13-0. And so they're on the verge of something great, and you can just kind of feel it. I was talking to some of the kids over here. I mean, you just tell it. They're not like overhyped. They're confident. They're calm. They're ready to go play football. I mean, you just feel it and see it. So no, I'm excited for them. I think it's going to be a great game. Shadyside's going to be a tough opponent.
Yeah.
Their record doesn't really reflect, I think, as good as they are. They've played some tough teams, and so Eastern's going to have a tough game. I'm giving the edge to Eastern because I think their offense is really good, and I don't know that Shadyside can stop it. That's one of the things I'm thinking. So,
your thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, right off the bat, Eastern's going to have the advantage, as Mr. Lice had indicated. But no, seriously, the atmosphere over here is just kind of electric.
Oh yeah,
and you can feel it. So they're automatically going to have the edge. I've watched a little bit of film on Shadyside and what they can bring, but from what I've seen from this Eastern team, I think they're going to be able to stop anything that they bring to the table. Because of everything that this coaching staff has done. I mean, we've talked all night about the amount of film that they've watched, the practices that they've done. I mean, I think that they're prepared for anything that Shadyside can throw at them, and I feel like that they definitely have the edge, and I can't wait.
Well, it's going to be fun, and like I said, airtime tomorrow at 6:30, kickoff at 7, and it'll be on WXEQ 100.1 on FM. You want to jump on the bandwagon, the sponsorship bandwagon, give Deb a call out, station 947-2166, 947-2167. Well, guys, I think it's going to be it's been a great night tonight.
It has been. It's been a great place to be, great atmosphere.
And that pizza's going to be real good when I get to it.
Yes, sir.
But
I had it when it was warm.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. But with that being said, I appreciate you guys, everything you've done all season. I can't wait till tomorrow night. hopefully the Eastern Eagles. Oh, I want to mention this. If you need a T-shirt that probably has some kind of Eastern logo on it or the playoff or whatever, Elizabeth Tees.
Okay.
Elizabeth Tees. Go there. You can go online and get it. I don't have the phone number or anything, but I just now saw where I had written it down. Elizabeth Tees has got all your Eastern T-shirts available.
Is that local, T. Fred?
Yep.
Yes, I think they're over here on Beaver Pike. They're going to be one of our sponsors tomorrow
Yes.
night. I think you can
Yes.
hit them up on Facebook. They've done some work for me in my office, so I know how fast they can turn stuff around.
Yep.
So, yeah, hit them up on Facebook, and they do great work.
Yeah, I know. My wife was out today looking for an Eastern
Yeah.
shirt specifically for tonight,
Yeah.
and they were sold out in Waverly. So
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah,
good thing for Eastern.
Good
That
thing.
is.
Good thing. Well, that being said, any last words, Mike?
No, I mean I'm super excited to be calling this Eastern game. I've seen a lot of these kids grow up, and can't wait to call it. I think they're gonna come out victorious.
Brian?
I think the big thing to watch, or the big threat potentially for Eastern, is the quarterback. Got a quarterback who is capable of scoring a lot and running a lot, but I think Eastern is going to be able to defend the run, and I think that's kind of his thing. If he can beat you with his feet, then he can throw. So I think if we can stop the quarterback, they should be in really good shape.
Sounds like a plan. W tomorrow night for Coach T and the Eagles, and make it 11-0 and go on to next week. And if that happens, guys, we'll be right back here next Thursday night at 6. With that being said, we thank all of our fine sponsors. We thank all of our special guests tonight. These guys do a great job over here at Total Media, putting us on live stream tonight. So for Deb back at the station and for my cohorts in crime here, this is T. Fred saying so long, everybody. And go Eagles.